Horse beef here, and I'm just sitting outside in my backyard enjoying some beautiful cold Canadian air. And I thought, I would bring you guys like a quick little short where I give you my quick breakdown for every single fight in this card. Well, not exactly a breakdown, that would be a generous way to put it, but quickly go through everything rather than just circling some noggins on a community post. I thought, this card's worth maybe me speaking about. And if you guys want me to do this going forward, let me know. Bukauskas versus Kirkara. I'm going Bukauskas with his superior experience pretty much in the UFC. I think he's probably a better striker, but Kirkara's not bad. But yeah, by decision. Ruzaboyev versus McConnell. I'm going to go Ruzaboyev. I think that's a weight class up from what he usually fights at. He was depleted pretty bad fighting at welterweight, but I think he'll do pretty well at middleweight. He's still big for the weight class, I can only assume. Then Vera Tennikov versus Vanderford. I think Vanderford was the guy who dated Paige Van Zandt for a bit, so I'm going to pick the Kazakhstani bloke by second round finish. I don't know much about him, to be honest, but fuck it. Ricky Simon versus Javid Basharat. I think Javid Basharat will put the nail in the coffin of Ricky Simon's UFC career. That'll be, 4 losses in a row? Not the greatest look. Abdul Malik versus Klein. I'm just going to go with Abdul Malik by first round KO. He's a heavy favorite for a reason. Andre Philly versus Costa. It's kind of a tough one, man. I'm looking at Andre Philly. He can look good at times, but only usually against journeymen. Against dangerous opponents, he doesn't usually do too well. But I think this is going to be a closely contested one. I'm thinking like 29-28 for Costa. Then Ion Cutelaba versus Ibo Aslan. I don't think this will go the way a lot of people think it will. I think Ion's wrestling is superior. I think if Ibo doesn't finish Cutelaba in the first round, he might get ragdolled in the second. I don't know about ragdolled, but he will be dominated on the ground in the second and third. I'm going to pick Cutelaba by decision. He's been fighting with more fight IQ recently, not just being a retard. Alonzo Menafield versus Julius Walker. I'm just going to go with Walker. I know Menafield has a lot of experience, but Walker, I'm just going to go with him. I have a hunch. Then Jean Silva versus Bagdasarian. I think Jean Silva wins this. I'm going to say second round TKO. I think Bagdasarian will be relatively competitive in the first round, but Jean Silva will find a shot in the second. What a beast he is. Rob Font versus Jean Matsumoto. I'm going to pick Rob Font. I think he may just quote-unquote fraud check this fool. Not that he's a fool. But he's good on the ground, but I think on the feet, Rob Font is too much for him. I think he'll just piece him up with a simple 1-2, man. The rudimentary striking that he has, I think, will be effective against Matsumoto. I think he'll win a decision. Brendan Allen versus Fluffy. I'm just going to pick Fluffy. He has pretty good boxing. Brendan Allen's pretty decent everywhere, but I think Fluffy may just beat him everywhere the fight is, and with the superior gas tank to go along with it, I think he'll win. Then Cejudo versus Song Yadong. Dude, it's a tough one, but I know a lot of people are picking Cejudo, but he's had like 1 foot in, 1 foot out of the UFC for so long, been so inactive, man. Song Yadong, he's fought killers, only really loses to killers. I think he's going to TKO Cejudo in the second round. He's just not in his prime anymore, Cejudo. I know he's a lead at one point, but not a whole lot of threat on the ground, not a whole lot of threat on the feet. I just don't see him beating Song Yadong here, second round TKO.